Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at Spunky Old Broad 1 or reach out to me on our website at spunkyoldbroad.com. And now, back to the show. I'm back with Judy Wong, who is an international educator, consultant, life coach, and speaker, who has spent 50 years in the performing and visual arts industry and over 40 years in various education and business industries. Judy, we've been talking about so many things in our other segment about what you've done and who you are. So how has what we've been going through, the pandemic and so forth, affected your professional life and your newest incarnation? Which I don't even know what the newest incarnation is, so maybe you need to tell us.
Well, I guess my newest incarnation was about 2 years ago. I started toying with the idea that I really wanted to work with baby boomers like us. My husband and I were busily complaining about how everybody thinks we're like 1 foot in the grave, and it really annoys the hell out of us. And he said, why don't you do something about it, Judy? You're good at helping people. Maybe you can help people to stop feeling lost and hopeless and depressed all the time. And so I started toying with this idea a couple of years ago of my living out loud, because it ain't over yet. And then around the beginning of the year, when the pandemic hit and I had to suddenly cancel 9 trips internationally, and I started seeing all of my friends really just feeling worse than ever, because here we are now with this pandemic, and our generation, it's bad enough everybody's telling us we're supposed to be 1 foot in the grave, but now they're also telling us we have to be isolated because we're old and we can't be near people and blah blah blah, and you can't do this, you can't do that. And every other word out of everybody's mouth about us is we're old. And people were really starting to feel it. And I finally decided, as the pandemic began, I said, this is the time. This is really the time. Maybe that's what my calling was, is that this was the time, because I need to be there to help my fellow generation live the life they really deserve to live, and stop getting out of this mindset of darkness. And the pandemic was just increasing it. So I felt more, I guess I felt a real push to really, really, really reach out in a big way to start helping my fellow baby boomers realize life ain't over yet. This is just a little blip in our life, and we've gone through, God knows, if we lived 60, 70, 80 years, we have gone through more blips in our life than most people on this earth. And we deserve a lot more, because our life isn't over yet. And pandemic or not, we still can fight this. One of the things I learned about energy healing was that cancer patients, and I worked with cancer patients, and I have family members who died of cancer. And the thing is, when they checked in about cancer patients, the ones that really did well and survived well were ones that didn't buy in to that it's all over.
Well, you're talking to one of them, Judy. You're talking to one of them. I'm going through my 4th case of breast cancer right now. I've had 18 surgeries, and I'm on chemo right now. And no, I just get up every day and do my thing, and enjoy my kitty, and go to bed at night watching something like the Hallmark Channel, because it's all happy. And so I agree with you. I think, but that goes back to mindset. We've been talking about that, and it goes back to mindset. So, the fact that you are a champion for these baby boomers, and the fact that you are helping them through this traumatizing time. Because, look, as we record this, I am in my 50th week of isolation, and I mean real isolation, not going anywhere. But it doesn't depress me because I'm so busy, I'm so active, and so. And it's interesting for someone, you talk about your international trips. I used to travel 4 or 5 times a month to speak to various conferences and so forth. As a matter of fact, I just got a notice I was supposed to speak at a conference last March, which of course got canceled until this March, which got canceled until now September. So they've got a date in September, which I think I will be able to make. I don't really care if I go anywhere anymore. I'm perfectly happy being where I am and just doing my Florida to California trips, which I've done for 18 years every month. And also, being a Zoom baby because everything that I'm doing now is real. I mean, I'm coaching on Zoom, I'm doing conferences on Zoom, I'm doing summits on Zoom. So all of this has to do with where we are right now. But you're also conducting what you call a 5-week reset challenge. So I assume that goes into recreating who we are or looking at our new whatever. So explain what a reset challenge is.
Okay, so I launched this reset challenge on Valentine's Day because I felt that love is the highest level of energy to launch a energy raising. And it's a 5-week challenge because the first week it's a group coaching where they go through raising their energy level, raising that energy level, tapping into that light that is going to be bigger and brighter than all the negativity that anybody wants to throw at them. And then the second week, this week we've been playing because, just because we're older doesn't mean we don't like to play too. So we play with all of the ideas and things that we've buried over the years, that life has buried, that people who love us but meant well, they kind of wrapped and closed doors on us because they thought they were protecting us, but we don't really need it anymore. And, we need to know that. What it's a 5-week working our way through getting rid of the baggage, getting rid of the negativity, and letting that light of the child that thought anything is possible back out, because we were always problem solvers. But somewhere along the line, some of us forgot that we were always problem solvers and we were always doers. And it brings that back out so that by the end of their 5th week, I guide them through actual real steps, because God knows I've had enough different careers that I can guide them through a lot of really definitive steps towards something they've always wanted to do, but they thought maybe they were too old to do, but we're never too old to do anything. And so that by the end of the 5 weeks, their mission accomplished is to raise themselves up to the newest, most amazing adventure yet, because life ain't over yet.
It's wonderful that you're doing this, because I think it's a wake up call. It's a wake up call for people. And first of all, when you're isolated the way most people over 50 have been isolated, and especially those in their 70s and 80s have been isolated, it's depressing. I mean, they can't hug their grandkids, they can't visit friends. But what I've done, and which I really enjoy. I mean, I've connected with so many people that I haven't talked to in a while. There are a lot of people, who I go through my address book and I say, well, I haven't talked to them in a long time, and I call them and they love to hear from you. So the fact that you're resetting people and that you are showing that there's more than one way to get through this is so important. But I also think that it's important for people to say,
What is it, either because they had to work at a particular job because of financial responsibilities, or because they got sucked into a job and then it was too good a job to leave and the benefits were too potent, uh, to be able to say, okay, I have a choice to make now, and I can do anything that I want to do, providing, I have the ability to do it. What is it that I want to do? How many of the people that you work with, Judy, are really honest about themselves and where they want to go and what they want to do and how they're going to get there?
Um, that's where the light work comes in, because part of the reason I do the light work is because it helps bring that light out. And the truth is, when you tap into that child's unrestrained light, you're tapping into the unconscious. You're tapping into the real core of what we always wanted. Um, Over the years, I like to say it's like a cocoon. That's how my 5-week challenge is sort of designed after a butterfly. Over our years, we've had layers and layers of cocoons being wrapped around us, telling us no, 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 no. That now we think, when we try to think of what do we want to do, we tend to think of it in terms of what people say we can do. And the thing about the light work is, when you start tapping into that light, and I really have them working on gratitude journals and really doing mindful light tapping every day. As you let that light out, it's amazing the things that you start really tapping into that really was the thing that my kids always yell at me, but I like to say, pushed the happy button, because what I try to get my people to see is, what is that real happy button? And the truth is, just, like in my case, there was a lot of happy buttons that I thought I might want. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with doing more than one thing as you go along. We still have a lot of time left. You take one and you run with it, and, go as far as you want with that, and then take another one. The fact is that you have them, and to understand you have them. But what I do is, in this challenge, I ask them to try and pick the first one, or the most pressing one that they have. And we literally will take steps. So if it's business, I will bring in business coaches to help them work their way through the business. And I myself have started companies on a shoestring and built companies into 6 figures, so I can help them there too. Um,
Well, let
but
me ask you something. You're known as the Judy Wong. What is that supposed to mean?
Well, that's a cute story. Recently, my youngest is an actor also, and his his ex-manager had decided that I had this rather successful career when I was younger, and before children and marriages and things, and she decided I should have a comeback. So she started booking me on jobs again, which I hadn't done in a long time. And so, yeah, I'm on like a couple of TV shows now and movies. And it was funny because one of the films decided to open an IMDb page on me. And, my son was like, when he was younger, he goes, "Ma, I can't Google you." I said, "Well, sweetheart, when I was in the business, there was no such thing as Google, let alone databases or the internet." And he says, "What?" I said, "My contracts are still there, and they're in this file cabinets at the Union Hall where they've always been." But it was really funny because this person opened an IMDb page on me, and not knowing too much about what IMDb was, I went in to look at this thing, and I was like, oh, I guess it has TV shows, but how come it doesn't have these other shows that I recently did? And when I looked up the show, I found out IMDb had credited my credits to somebody else. And when I did a little investigating, I found out somebody was going around saying that they were the famous Asian American actress from New York, Judy Wong. And I was like, wow, I ain't dead yet. And I've been a union member for like 50 years. And I'm not dead yet, so I don't know who the hell is going around saying that they're me. So it became like a running gag because I was doing this singing gig, cabaret singing gig with some friends that I met with once a week. And they started calling me, no, that's not the fake Judy Wong. That's the Judy Wong.
Well, it's interesting. That's one of the reasons why when people join Screen Actors Guild or after, they have to sometimes put in a middle initial in there because someone else has their name. But so it's kind of who gets there first kind of thing, and it's so true because there are a lot of people who can't use their regular name because somebody else has gotten there first. So that's probably what you went through.
This woman actually, her name is not Judy Wong. It's something more than that. But she decided she was going to be the Judy Wong. I'm like, no. I'm not dead yet. Sorry. I may have been like Don Amici out of the picture for a little while, but I'm not dead yet. And I'm still around. And yes, I am the original Judy Wong. When I was well known and I was at the height of my career, my manager used to get calls all the time asking for a Judy Wong type. And she would say, I represent Judy Wong. And they would go, yeah, but she's too expensive. Can we get a Judy Wong type?
That's interesting. Yeah.
So my friends started going, no, she is the Judy Wong. And I said, yeah, I guess I should tell people I am the Judy Wong, not the other person.
Well, it's interesting. As famous as some people are, there are still people who try to get in on their name or their invention or something like that. And it's really curious how all of this happens. So, where are you heading now, the Judy Wong? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I feel that it's time that I'm now that I'm more comfortable with my energy healing world. I am really leaning into that more than ever. I still sing. I'm still singing internationally at different places. But I'm really leaning into my energy healing gift because I just feel, especially with this pandemic, that more than ever, this world needs help. It needs to be healed. And I have a gift. And it's not something I asked for, but it's something I was given. And I always feel if you're given something, you need to give it out because what you give, you have to give back. And I guess my goal is I want to touch about 1 million souls and maybe lift up them from this darkness of old because we're not old and we could live so much more,
So in all the places that you've worked and sung and performed, where is your favorite place? What is the favorite place that you have outside of where you live that you like to be?
Oh God, Europe.
Well, Europe's a big place. So where in Europe?
I know. I've been singing a lot in UK lately, but I'm really looking at the south of Spain. My husband and I would love to eventually relocate to Formentera. So
interesting, very interesting. So the whole point of being a Renaissance woman, Judy, is the fact that it never stops. It never stops. No. You're always learning, you're always creating, you're always revealing, you're always becoming, you're always a part of something. So if you were to address a group of people in a, let's say, an adult living facility, what would
Mhm.
you suggest to them would be the best thing that they could do?
Ah, in an adult living
Yeah,
situation,
not
I
assisted
would,
living, but an adult living, we're in a,
right,
we're,
those retirement villages and
right,
things.
right.
I would say the first thing they have to do is stop calling themselves retirees. Because think about what that means. You're
So
sitting
what,
around,
what should they call themselves?
call themselves works in progress because that's what we are. We are constantly works in progress,
I
and we
like that.
are
Yeah,
living
I
at
like
heart
that.
works in progress. And that's what I say I am. People say, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a work in progress." It's
Well, let's
you
say
know,
first of all, let's because we only have about 4 minutes left. What is the best place to find you, Judy? Where should people go to find where you are? I don't know if you have a gift for anybody, but where should people find you?
they could go to my website, Living Out Loud Ain't Over Yet, all one word, no grammatical apostrophes or anything, .com, and there's ways to contact me through there.
Okay,
And yeah,
living out loud ain't over yet.
hmm
.com, correct?
yep.
Okay. And
And yeah, I have a Facebook page there. You could find me on LinkedIn as the Judy Wong. um, Pretty much, I'm all over the place these days. But yeah, I would say that's probably the best ways. If you go to my website, you can find my email and reach out to me that way. It's better to reach out to me through my email rather than phones because um, I get a lot of weird junk mail these days about my death wish plans.
well, I think I'm on every spammer's list. I get spam on my cell phone, my office line, my
Yeah.
home phone, online. I think I'm on everybody's list that I've won $1 million or that, they've got this wonderful package waiting for me. So I get what you're saying. I even had a phone call saying this kid came on and said, this is your grandson. And I said, well, congratulations. I don't have one because I don't. I have a great grandson, but I don't have a grandson. So it's
I
interesting,
know.
how. But unfortunately, Judy, and this is where you come in, and I come in. Um, we need to educate people
Right.
not to respond to these things because they
Yeah.
are so horrific. They are really
And
horrific.
they're
And
negative. They're negative. They just bring you down.
exactly. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who fall for them. So we've got 2 minutes left. What have we not discussed that you think our audience needs to hear from you?
I'm just going to tell you a quick little story. How's that?
Okay.
Um, People ask, why do I have so many jobs? And the thing is, when remember I said I started college at 16 and I had an interruption. When I was 18, I came back to New York. I was supposed to be transferring, and my mother sabotaged my transfer. So I was stuck in New York. I decided to go to a conservatory because all these young actors had schools on their resumes, and I came up the old-fashioned way with vaudevillians. So I didn't have a school on my resume. I went to a conservatory, and there was a man that I made friends with who was my scene partner, and we became lifelong friends. He was in his late 50s, and I remember thinking, what the hell are you doing here? And he said to me, I'm a retired teacher, English teacher. I'm a retired cop. I'm a retired fireman. And, I always thought it would be fun to maybe be an actor or a director. So he went to conservatory. And I thought to myself, that's really crazy. And he said, Judy, I'm going to be everything I've ever wanted to be before I go. And I've got a lot of years left to do it. And You know, he went on to be an actor in movies and television and a director, and he's still doing more things. And God bless, you know, he was
That's
right.
right. Absolutely. Well, it has been an absolute delight, Judy, and I wish you only the best in your future. And folks, remember, you can get a hold of Judy at her website, which is Living Out Loud. It's not over yet.com. Judy, thanks so much for being with us today, and good luck in the future.
Thank you. It was great talking to you, Gail.